Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. So I took quite a large break from doing any sort of YouTube videos, and a big reason for that was I had been diagnosed with ulcerative proctitis, and I decided that I was sick and tired of doing suppositories, or I was also told I could take like a pill every day, but then every 6 months I would have to have my blood drawn, and I just kept thinking like, man, there's got to be some other way to actually heal my body instead of just like putting a band-aid on my body. And of course, like in extreme cases, if I was in a super bad flare, my naturopath, who I've been seeing now for a while, would say like, oh, by all means, like, go the route of conventional medicine, get your body calmed down, and then, we'll do a complete gut reset and all that, which I like. There's a lot of people that I think you either have to be all natural or completely conventional. And I like that she takes the approach of like, we'll see what we can do naturally, but also conventional medicine has its place. So anyways, I started seeing the naturopath according to my calendar, late October of 2018. So I started seeing her. I guess a little bit of background on my proctitis. I'll try to keep it real short. I've always had issues with my stomach. I was always one of those kids that was allergic to a lot of things. I would go outside in the cold when I was little and break out head to toe in hives. And they think that was exacerbated from my food allergies, which were wheat, rye, dairy, kidney beans, and peanuts. I was of the mindset, everyone always told me that you outgrow your allergies. So I was like, oh, I'm fine, I was eating all sorts of crap that I could get my hands on. My parents were super healthy, and they still are. But I guess that was like my rebellion phase, was to, get the Doritos or whatever junk food I could get. And I had a lot of stomach issues. Sometimes I remember being with one of my best friends. We were watching a movie together, and I was like, you know what? I'm so sick and tired of my stomach complaining, so I'm going to try to eat everything that she eats. And I remember that we had like a bunch of like Dunkin' Donuts donut holes and like all sorts of other sugary snacks. So I made it my mission to keep up with her. In the middle of the night, after watching the movie, I woke up and had to run to the bathroom and just like start throwing up. So my body has never handled junk food well, but like I said, I kept thinking, oh, but I'm going to outgrow these allergies, so, I can just keep eating whatever I want, because sooner or later it's not going to affect me. I had that stuff like continued throughout college. When I was out of college, I remember that I'm sorry, this is like probably TMI for a lot of people, but that's the reality when it comes to IBD, and a lot of us out there have IBD, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. It is an autoimmune disorder, so just get over the stuff that's TMI, because it's just bodily functions that aren't working how they should. So anyways, after college, I was working on a film set for 3 years, and I knew that I couldn't eat gluten or dairy, almonds, peanuts, or garlic. Like, I knew that my body just didn't react well with those things, so I stayed away from them. And I thought, oh, I'm doing a pretty good job, I'm healthy because my diet's gluten-free and dairy-free. I was still eating, bagged chips from Crafty and things like that because, oh, they're labeled gluten-free. It's just potato chips. And I was doing a number on my body without realizing it. And I would go to the bathroom and I would have mucus instead of poop. But I thought, I guess it's normal because one of my best friends was experiencing the same thing and she was very vocal about it. So I thought, okay, well, it's just normal. Sometimes you get mucus. So that continued for a while, and then years later, after still, dealing with these stomach issues, still being so stupid. Oh my gosh, I would go to the grocery store, I'd be at Whole Foods and be like, oh, this gluten-free, dairy-free cupcake is amazing. Meanwhile, I'm loading my body with like tons of sugar. I was exhausted, low energy, just my body was a wreck. Then I started a job, it was probably like 3 years ago. So I was at a job that was very stressful. I was doing that full-time while still doing acting on the side and auditions and all that. So my job was stressful. I was planning our wedding, which anyone who's ever planned a wedding knows it is super stressful. And I ended up planning ours in like 4 or 5 months after we were engaged, so it was a very short time frame and a lot of stress. At the end of it, I just was like, I give up. Whatever happens, happens. I just want to be married. And then the third factor of all this like stress ball that was accumulating, I won't really talk about what happened, but basically it was no longer safe for me to live in my current apartment. So in the middle of this stressful job and wedding planning, I had to move to a different location and find a different apartment. And all of that accumulated into so much stress until one day I went to the bathroom and there was blood in the toilet. And I was like, this is not good at all. You know, I was freaked out, went to a doctor. They said, it's hemorrhoids, here's some cream. It seemed to work for, I don't know, like a couple of weeks or something. But then it kept happening. So a few weeks before our wedding, I ended up needing to have a colonoscopy, which was super fun. I woke up in the middle of it and said like, ow, ow, this hurts, please stop. And then obviously they drugged me more. So I fell right back asleep. But the colonoscopy diagnosed my proctitis. And like I said, that doctor gave me, what is it? It's not just suppositories. It's that like, enemas. He gave me enemas and suppositories, and my body just was not doing well. So I went and I saw this naturopath and decided I want to take my health into my own hands. I tried random diets on my own. Nothing was working. I was still bleeding. I was still so lethargic. I was crying because my body's not functioning like it's supposed to. You know, you're supposed to just like be able to poop. And proctitis is the inflammation of your rectum. So, I mean, it makes sense that I was in pain. Anyways, my naturopath also has ulcerative proctitis, which was a huge blessing. So she put me on a diet. I was literally tracking, like my food journal is just everything. I would track everything I was eating, and according to the diet plan she had given me, I tracked everything I was eating, and then I would track my bowel movements for the day so I could see what was happening. And the first thing that started happening is my rosacea went away. Now it took months still for my gut to fully heal, but my rosacea went away. And my husband and I were both like, wow, that's interesting. You know, I guess it really was a manifestation of all the inflammation in my gut. So that was the first thing to go away. This was a long battle. This took me so many months to finally get a hold of things. I used to cry because I just didn't know how to grocery shop anymore, because I couldn't just walk down an aisle and like, you know, pick up a box of gluten-free crackers because I couldn't eat those anymore. So I had to learn how to do a diet that's called the autoimmune protocol, which is like paleo, except way more restrictive. You can't do nuts, which, you know, wasn't hard for me. And you also can't do nightshades, which I used to eat a ton of red bell peppers. Those were like my favorite, but they cause inflammation to the gut, and, you know, so do tomatoes and eggplants. White potatoes now are swapped out for sweet potatoes, which is not a bad change. But I mean, it took months, and I kept thinking like, you know, when am I going to be healed? I was crying out to God. I was praying. I was saying like, listen, I'm doing everything I can, but I need your help, you know, because I didn't know what it would look like to have a healed body. And when you're trying to keep a house tidy and you can't even get the energy to like push around a vacuum cleaner because your body is just so upset. I lost so much weight because all like the bloating and everything that had happened from the diet I had been on before my naturopath, all of that just went away. And I wasn't allowed to exercise because, you know, when you exercise, your muscles breaking down and like rebuilding, and my body needed to focus on rebuilding, you know, down there, my rectum, my gut, doing all that reset. And I just want to encourage anyone out there who's like doing, you know, who's trying to embark on this journey. Like, it took so much crying, so much patience. I make my own chips now from cassava flour. Like, it is a huge learning curve. Don't be mad at yourself if it is taking a while, because it does take a while. It takes a long time for your body to reset, and it takes a long time for your brain to stop thinking of food how it used to stop going, oh, well, I'm hungry, I can just grab this bag of chips. It is now, I'm hungry, but I'm not at the point of starvation yet. So I'm going to make myself some chips, you know, and everything is, like I said, it's very similar to paleo, but it is incredible when it pays off. Super difficult journey. And it is now June of 2019. I've probably been gut healthy for like a couple months, maybe 3 months, maybe a little more than that actually. And it's at the point now where instead of saying like I can't do any alcohol, you find what works for you. I had a little bit of coffee for the first time since like last October, yesterday. And I mixed it with a ton of full fat coconut milk, a little bit of coconut sugar. I used to drink my coffee black, but at this point I'm like, all right, anything to help the gut be able to process it. And I was just on charge for the rest of the day. I got so much stuff done. It was amazing. But it takes a lot to get there. There was so much that I needed to learn, that I needed to wrap my brain around. Now when I walk into a grocery store, it's not intimidating. If I'm going out to eat, I know what to say. Like, hey, I'd like this fish, but could you only make it with, olive oil and salt, rosemary, oregano, like any of those things. But just knowing how to take care of my body, learning to substitute rice for cauliflower rice. It's a big learning curve. Don't get discouraged at all. Keep going with it, because trust me, it gets so much better. And the ability to not have constant medication in my body is amazing. The fact that I'm looking at food as my medicine is such a great feeling. And instead of, like, I used to be so annoyed with how long it took to boil water. I hated cooking with a passion. That's why I would buy everything prepackaged, right? It wasn't healthy for me. And now that I've learned how to cook and it's become more of an experience that is enjoyable for me, I'm proud of what I cook. I love being able to be like, oh yeah, I made this, this is delicious. And I spent time cooking this for myself and for my husband. Don't get mad at your body for being different than someone else's body. You need to appreciate your body, to love your body, and, to give your body the best life possible. So just because it doesn't, measure up to someone else's standards or whatever, it doesn't mean anything. It's your body, and it is empowering how much you can do for your body. So I just want to encourage you guys to stay positive, to love yourselves, to not be mad about your autoimmune disorder. Know that there are so many of us out there that are cheering you on, that are going through or either currently going through what you're going through or have been through what you're going through. So just keep your head up. Let yourself cry when you need to cry. It's super important. But get stronger, and just know how strong of a person you are by doing what you're doing. All right, see you guys later. Bye.